Love and light! We are a divine couple, and we are here to assist humanity in creating harmonious relationships, families, and a solid society with the divine feminine and the divine masculine archetypes through channeling and personal experiences.
It's time to rise, people of the sun, because
Together we rise and synchronized we thrive. Rah! Ça, c'est bon.
On l'essaye.
Love and light. In today's video, we talk about
Our first live with Alexander from Average to Great.
So today was a conversation around communication, and it was mostly to describe how can the divine masculine walk like a king through his communication.
So enjoy this first video with him and much more collaboration to come in the near future.
Love you.
All right.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you both doing?
Amazing. Thank you very much. We'll just fix that because we don't see your head now.
I need to lower this as well. There we go. Right.
That's great. Great.
Yeah, it's great to finally connect with you both.
Yes.
So much is going on in the collective right now, so I definitely feel like we need to be sharing our voices, not just individually, but also together. Obviously, like anything like meditation, it's powerful when we're in a group setting, and in community, there's unity, right? It's in the word itself, right? So this is just wonderful that we get to share our platform. I'm really looking forward to this, and just also getting myself more out there, just using my voice, sharing my voice of resonance as you are both doing in the beautiful world.
Grateful.
Thank you for
grateful.
joining us. So
Grateful.
amazing.
Yay.
Yes.
So I'm excited to have two divine masculine with me today.
Finally,
Yes. I think it's
we're searching for those.
the first time.
But we had other lives before, but
With guys?
Cam.
Oh yes, Cam. Yes, he's really epic as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but it's not common yet. We're to find more else on that path to that vortex, not the masculine vortex, because we know how much it's needed in the world now. Yeah.
I wanted to
Did you
ask.
hear us?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I heard that. I'm just wondering how the is it clear coming on your side, or is it a little staticky? Because I noticed it's a little staticky right now here, but
it's not optimal.
Might have to redo it. I'm wondering.
Okay.
Might be better now.
Oh, there we
hopefully.
go. I think.
Okay, great. Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, cool.
Wonderful.
All right.
Yes.
Awesome. Yeah. No. There's so much we can dive into. One of the things I really wanted to share with the audience is just each other's journeys and how we kind of got onto this path of just connecting to the divine that's within us and that's all around us, right?
I would be very interested to know what's your story, because mine I shared already. It was with my son, my autistic son, and this is what sparked everything back in 2013. So that sparked that whole process. So I'm curious to know what your story is. So if you feel free to share if you want to share.
Yes, please.
Yeah, I'd love to. Oh, so much, so much to dive into.
Where
Well,
do we
I also I just want to say, first off, like, thank you to everyone that's joined the live, and we appreciate, your time and energy. And if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask either of us, or you can also use the question box below.
Yeah.
So yeah, my name's Alexander. I'm born and raised in Victoria, BC, Canada.
Canadian as well.
Yeah, Canadian, for now, anyways, right? But we're all earthly. We're all earth people, right? We're all from the same plane, right? And that's there's in this world, there's just so much division and so much inversion and everything. So we really have to use our discernment and have a greater awareness in everything all around us and both within us too, right? And my journey in this life, I've had a lot of trials and tribulations, honestly, early on growing up. I come from a family of divorce. My parents divorced when I was around 18. I saw a lot, I saw a lot of what I didn't want to become. I saw a lot of what I knew I wasn't in other individuals, specifically my father, right? And my father is someone who, had so much potential, had so much love, but also had a lot of fear and a lot of anger. But again, like all of our experiences in life, a lot of it is generational. We come into this life with a lot on our plate. And I know everything happens for a reason, and I get chills when I say that because, as I said, I always say this, the best gift that you have to offer is yourself and your experiences. Law of authenticity states, right? And I guess I found my dharma, my purpose early on through my family, through my experiences that I went through, and it's led me down to this path now. When my parents got divorced around that time, I was playing soccer. I played for 14 years. I wanted to play professionally. That was my goal as a kid growing up. And unfortunately, I suffered a very tragic, severe injury. But ultimately, the best things sometimes are the ones that never end up happening. Because it leads you to your actual purpose, right? And that led me down the path of the gym and fitness and health. And back in 2011, when I suffered that injury, I channeled that fire and that passion, and I channeled it into the gym. But more importantly, and that's what I want to tell all the men is, we have the physical fitness, we have this physical realm, but we also have the mental, the emotional, the spiritual planes. And with the gym, it really helped me connect more with the mental, the mind, the emotions, the emotional side of it. I was able to, transfer that energy, whether it be negative or positive, and channel it into something concrete, something that I could build my temple, my vessel, So when when I was going through those family issues and such, I saw a lot of verbal, mental, emotional, physical abuse, everything, But in those moments, as a young kid, it almost makes you, it turns you into your own like psychologist, your own like child psychologist, because in those moments you're looking for ways to kind of diffuse the situation, right? You're looking to stop your dad from like yelling, or like even like just going through difficult times, right? So I learned early on that that sense of independence, but also from that sense of independence, the art of creating and creating my own foundation. And ultimately that's led me to this day and age, currently this present day, where now I'm creating my own business. I do men's empowerment and transformation coaching. So my purpose all behind it is awakening the greatness in you, transcending into the leader that you were born to be, because I know deep down that we're all born to be leaders in our own individuality. You know, we're all meant to connect with our God-given purpose, you know, our dharma. And that's, you know, through finding that on my own, you know, I have a lot of just fulfillment in helping other individuals find that as well, specifically men. And I know men right now are suffering more than ever. You know, we're all suffering in our own respects we have, especially over the past couple of years. So for me, my biggest purpose is to help men connect more with their own purpose and to find fulfillment and to connect more with their mission. Because again, like as I said, there's so much division and inversion in this world. So it's really important that we connect more within the kingdom of God that is all within us, and connected to that divinity and connected to that energy, and as within, so without, right? As we do the work within, so without, that ripple effects off into the ether, into the plane, into everyone around us, and it brings a certain resonance. So that's a little bit, I guess you could say, about my journey. So
in a nutshell.
So I agree. The ripple effect. Every male that can tap into that, the ripple effect is huge. So every male that we can reach and, let's say, influence, or let's say you through your coaching business, every single one of them, it's huge. So
Wow. So how old are you, Alexander?
So I'm 28 years.
28 years. Wow. Perfect. That's so
amazing.
It's so wonderful to see, you know, people younger and older just mixing their energy. It's not like, I'm not saying that I'm old. I'm just saying that I'm a bit, just a tiny bit older than you. And it's amazing to see. And also, I see that, and once again, it's a reminder, pain is the greatest teacher.
Yes.
And we want it. We want to be just, but that's how we, in this realm for now.
And we signed up for this.
Exactly.
We're
volunteers.
and this is what we're doing here, and this is beautiful. And I just want to ask you a question. So how do you feel that all of this, everything that happened to you, how did it affect the divine masculine that you are now and you want to become? So how did it mold, you know, how did everything came to shape for you? Like, that's my question, you know. You know, I want to know what pushed you towards that. You know, what was your mental breakthrough, if I can express it like that?
Oh, this is a great question. I love these questions. You know, they're stimulating. One thing I want to say, just with your last point, you know, as you said, you know, with pain, you know, one of my greatest mentors, Greg Plitt, you know, he actually passed away back in 2015. He's my greatest inspiration in this plane. You know, we actually share the same birthday, believe it or not, November 3rd. So I know that there was a reason why we were connected. But he had a famous quote. He said, "Suffer the pain of discipline, or suffer the pain of regret." You know, so like we can even, you know, we can go through life disciplining ourselves and creating so much beauty, or, you know, we can go through life at the end of it having regret that we didn't take full opportunity of what was given to us, right? So I try to live through those words every day. But just to answer your question, I would say, you know, I learned early on, you know, through my own parents' relationship, and just seeing how they reacted, you know, seeing how they reacted, say, rather than responding, you know, because in this world, you know, it teaches us to react, fight or flight, rather than responding, you know, through our heart center, you know, as opposed to reacting through the mind, you know. So I learned very early on, you know, what I kind of wanted in my own relationships, both, you know, intimately and not intimately, you know, with friends, but also with, you know, lovers too, right? And you know, I went through, you know, after, you know, during my parents' divorce, I was still kind of like living at home. You know, I entered into a relationship. It was a 4-year relationship, and it was the longest relationship of my life, and it taught me so much. We did so many firsts together. We moved in together. We met each other's parents for the first time, right? But ultimately through that relationship, and I'll share this, openly. We were so focused on the relationship that we weren't able to focus on our individual selves. So the personal growth aspect was missing. That sense of fulfillment from growing was missing. Individually. Cultivating that more within myself. So when that relationship ended, that was actually when I went down the personal growth and self-development journey, and I got into books like Think and Grow Rich. But then, I also got into the spirituality side of it. And I got into David Dita's The Superior Man, Way of the Superior Man, which I highly recommend.
Amazing book. Me too.
Yeah.
I recommended it a couple times on my page, and I can't recommend it enough. So that's a powerful book when you are into a relationship already.
Yeah, exactly. And
Or to learn how to
No, just to have
manage.
a better flow with your woman during the relationship. It's not a book like to help to
get a woman.
Yeah, it's not. It's more like to behave, like to have a better understanding
of the way of the relationship itself. Yes, exactly. Of course.
Yeah, just understanding the energies more, the masculine and the feminine energies, both within ourselves, but also within our relationships, within, say the opposite sex, right? And, also another book that really that really helped me just build just more my divine masculine was also just understanding more about my emotions and my thoughts. And so funny how the universe works. I gotta say this. So the book is the Way of the Superior Man by David Dita. That's the book that I was talking about. But there's another book, so weird. So in the beginning of 2020, when all this was kind of happening, with COVID and all that, there's certain things that I shouldn't say on here because that might be censored, right? They banned me from going live, but that's not, you can't censor the truth. Truth wins. God wins always in the end. But one book that came into my possession. So I was living in an area where I am, and we have these local book boxes, right? And basically, like, anyone in the community around can donate these books. And I was just, I had a joint in my hand, I was, smoking some cannabis, right? And I was walking through my park, and I stumbled across this book box. And in the book box, there was this book by Eckhart Tolle, actually, and it was A New Earth, Awakening to One's Purpose. So when I picked up that book, I was like, I got chills, because I was like, wow, like, just the odds of, like, just the timing of everything, it just, like, it was so funny. Like, I was like, there's no coincidence, everything happens for a reason, and I just delved into that book, and one of the things that really stood out was, we are in our thoughts or our emotions, we're the awareness behind those thoughts and emotions. So really, I guess to bring it, full circle to where I am now, really focusing on presence. Presence has been a big thing, but also bringing more awareness to that presence and bringing more awareness to my thoughts and my emotions and seeing where they align with my higher self, but also my false self. What is in alignment with my higher self and not driven by the ego. So, over these past couple of years, it's definitely been a journey of self-introspection and self-actualization, like, very deeply. And I'm still down this path right now. I would say I've only skimmed the surface of it.
The surface.
We are in the beginning, right? We're so young still. We're still in the beginning.
And there is no end to it. So
no, exactly.
Lifetime after lifetime.
So all those things that we learn. The question that I have for the divine masculine is how to balance the divine, the feminine energy within your divine masculine force.
That's a good question.
How did you balance it? Because, they say that, you have to be in your feminine to receive and for communication and all those things. But the man also has to be masculine and be strong, because a woman doesn't want to be with a weak, she want to feel safe. So how can you make sure that this feminine energy is still balanced with your masculine energy? Of course, because like you say, you're always training. Vincent is always training, always doing action, always in the masculine, but there is a side that is still feminine. How did you manage to make that work?
Yeah, that's an amazing question. So if you want to answer first, and after I can
for sure, that's a wonderful question. You know, my first thing that comes to mind is balance. You know, so I'm just reading Yasmin's comment.
Yes, this is huge key. My DM is learning how to receive and open to his feminine energy now, while also releasing distorted toxic masculinity. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know. Yeah. So we all have yin and yang within us. You know, both men and women, and I think that's a takeaway in itself is, in this system, we're so conditioned and programmed to not connect with the feminine side, especially as men. And when I think of the feminine, I think of, the raw, the deepness, the emotion, I'm a water sign, I'm a Scorpio. I don't, necessarily, resonate with everything in my chart, because it also depends on how much work you've done on yourself, right? But I would say I'm a very emotional being. We're all emotional beings. I think that's the thing we have to remember is we're all emotional beings. And energy, emotion is just energy in motion. So stillness is required in order to tap into the feminine. So one of the greatest ways that has helped me is meditation. Meditation, but also ice cold therapy, ice cold showers, jumping in, to that fear, for me, honestly, it afterwards, it helps calm me, it almost calms my nervous system so that I'm able to tap more into my heart. And I would say those practices along with the gym, the gym is just like, it's like action, like workout. But at the same time, it regulates your nervous system. So it almost brings yourself back into balance. So for me, I resonate a lot with just the balance aspect of it. I try to do things in my day that are able to balance me out throughout. So, because, we all work 9 to 5s, we all, we have, interactions with random people throughout our day, but it's all about how are we responding to that as opposed to reacting. Are we going to let something trigger us and get immediately into our masculine, into our dominant side, or are we going to sit with it, have stillness, have presence, not emotionally react and rather respond from the feminine with the grace of love and just nurturing, just having compassion as well. And I think that's another thing, as a collective, especially as men, is, we have to have compassion for our fellow brothers, but we also have to have compassion for ourselves as well, first and foremost. But we also have to have forgiveness. We have to forgive ourselves for anything that we've gone through in the past, that hasn't benefited us, positively, right? I think that's another thing. But yeah, Vince, if you wanted to add to that.
Yeah, sure. I can share my perspective, and we all have our own individual journey. So, yeah, so to me, like you said, let's say the program doesn't want you to connect to your feminine, but it doesn't want you to connect with your masculine either. So the program is very well done. It's very, very well done.
If I can just add something really quick, is that you will also oftenly see in the divine feminine or divine masculine or just feminine people in their spiritual path, the spiritual man will rather be very passive aggressive, okay, or he will not be able to communicate properly, or he's afraid of communicating because of the program, and he's afraid to be in his masculine, and he is afraid to communicate. So the masculine is really tricky, but the feminine energy, she will communicate. Everybody is a goddess, everybody is a queen, but none of them have the force, the fire to go for what they want. A lot of them are just sitting, daydreaming about what they want in their feminine, but they are not in contact with the masculine, because the masculine is the force that push you towards and doing the action to get shit done. But the feminine, a lot of the feminine women are really in their feminine and staying and just, chilling in their feminine. But to put things into matter, you have to have some masculine in you to create things, but it's just a balance. So I'm just going to let you finish.
Yeah, well, that's a great input. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Communication, that's a big thing.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For this ascension, communication, like we mentioned with Marlene during Marlene's life, we'll just repeat that over and over again. Communication. Like, that's a big topic by itself, and more to come on that. So we will not digress. We could dive for 2 hours. Communication, we will just that one will come back over and over again, and we will just further expand as we move into that path. But yes, what I was saying is that the program is very well done. So it prevents like the males to really tap into their masculinity. So they are very like feminine, but not the good type of feminine, Yeah. So it's a very it's not an ideal place to be. I've been into that place for a long time in my life before I got that aha moment where I understood that there was more to it. And then what I had to do was to reprogram my whole brain to dive into that masculine aspect. So I kind of just focused to be like masculine
right
for maybe 3 years, and then in that path now it's like more recent that I begin to reconnect with my feminine, but like in the good way,
Yes.
So it's very broad, it's general, but in a nutshell for me it's like that. So I kind of to reconnect with the feminine, but on a healthy way. Yeah.
That's so.
Yeah.
That's beautiful, brother. And like, just to add to that too is the communication side of with communication, when we speak, when we use our voice, our voice is so powerful. And I think especially over the past couple of years, but also through the system, we're taught not to use our voice, especially as men. We're taught not to connect with that deep resonance with our throat chakra, and we're not taught to question. We're not taught to ask things, through the programming. As you say, the programming is done very well. In the school system, we're taught to raise our hand when we have a question. We're not taught, to speak from our heart. We're taught to follow guidelines. We're taught to follow rules. We're taught to obey. But that is the very opposite, because, as creators, when we are in our true divine, masculinity, our true divine feminine, we're just flowing. We just are. We're just, being, and that's the highest stage of enlightenment. If you think about the Hawkins scale of human consciousness, and you look at the levels of frequency and energy and emotion, enlightenment is at the top, and you just are. You're just vibing. You're just vibing, and there's
back to flow state. Yeah, back to flow state. That's key. Yeah.
And
that state.
Yeah, and there's been such an attack on men specifically. The emasculation of man specifically. There was a quote. I don't know the exact quote, but basically it's like, the world was easy to corrupt when man was turned against himself. So you can say that in the collective, how it's manifested in our collective consciousness, because we truly, as a collective, have manifested this reality as a result of our imbalance of feminine and masculine energy. So in order to bring that balance back, we have to balance that within ourselves first. As within, so without. And it's already happening on this plane. It's already been happening over the past couple of years, you know. People are starting to question more, ask more, tapping more within, you know, dealing with their traumas, you know, doing the great work, right, as I call it. But, you know, it's exciting times coming for sure. Like, over these next couple of years, a lot is going to shift. It already is. I'm not sure how you're feeling with the energies right now with everything that's going on, but there's a lot shifting. I just want to read some of these comments, but
yes, there's so many good comments, and I just wanted to, before answering your question, I just wanted to come back on Mary's comment, and she said that, you know, to really get to ascension, the feminine, the sacred union of the feminine and the masculine energy within us must be in union or fully complete, you know, to complete full ascension. And I just want to say something really quickly. I know we cannot digress because, you know, there's so much things that, you know, we can say, but something that we need to bring back into our now moment is that if you think about Atlantis and Lemuria, okay, you feel like an Atlant man, you know. I did like Atlant guy, you know. Just saying. So Lemuria was the representation of the divine feminine. It's the mother.
Right.
She came before the man because she has to bring you into she's the portal, right?
Yeah.
She was Lemuria. It was a mix of man and woman, of course, but
it was
Lemuria,
much more feminine energy there.
It was a feminine energy. And then out of Lemuria, something else was created, and it became Atlantis. And Atlantis had the masculine mindset.
Masculine energy, much more masculine.
Yes. So the masculine mindset is what we see around us. So what we see around us is the Atlantean. I don't know how to say that.
Atlantean, that's correct.
Atlantean vibe, energy, structure, creation, a lot of creation, create new technology, creation through technologies, through DNA manipulation, and all those things. The Atlants were magician in that part.
Right.
The Lemurians were magician with nature. They were what they call the green witch, or they were what they call, they would, you know, heal people with the hurt. They would talk to like trees because everything was so synchronized at that moment that nothing was separated. So it's like it was more full. It was more in the feminine. I just wanted to, anyway, I don't want to digress.
No,
but
that's
I
a
am
good point.
reading a lot about that lately, and when we can. What happened in that time is that the feminine and the masculine energy, which was Atlant and Lemuria, had a communication problem. They didn't want it to work together anymore because nobody was really speaking the other one language in terms of energy. They wouldn't accept the other as the other one has. They were like in conflict.
Right.
And this is the problem that this is the karma that we still have in humanity within us.
This is what we have to heal now.
And in a union, it's like if you cannot deal with your masculine and feminine energy inside of you, don't ask to do it outside of you. Like you say, so within, so without.
Yes.
So it just comes full circle for us to understand that through communication and through real connection of the divine, feminine, and masculine in all aspects of our life, will we ascend. This is the path to ascension. It's not only love. Of course, love is the base of everything. But if you're full of love and you don't know how to love people around you, but you love them, but you want to whoop them all because that's the way you share your love, it's not going to work. So you have to learn how to give as the other one want to receive.
Yeah.
And it's just communication, people.
Yeah.
If we learn to communicate, then we will be saved, and we are already saved. But I mean, we will go to the next level of this humanity, because ever since Atlant and Lemuria, we are in this chaos.
Yeah, in this chaos.
Because of communication.
Yes.
So
that brought chaos. It was like heaven on earth, amazing to amazing nations, but because they couldn't communicate, it brought downward spiral that lasted forever.
There was a separation and a divide that was created ultimately, you know, and that's like the greatest illusion in this world today, is the illusion of separation, that, you know, say like I'm separate from, like, say, another being, but we're all interconnected. We're all, you know, we're all just part of the grand consciousness of it all. So, like, that's another thing we have to remember. And also, we have to remember our connection, not just to source, to the divine, but also to nature. We need to get back to nature. And especially as men, we need to ground. We need to connect more with the elements of the earth. Like me personally, I've been doing so much grounding work, like down by the ocean. Like I've been doing cold dips, you know, just like, you know, getting my, you know, face in the sun, you know, getting that good vitamin D, you know, daily, as we all should be doing, you know. And that's also one reason why I want to go to Costa Rica again. But that's another it's another conversation. But
we are very aligned with that. So,
yes, we feel you.
Yeah, we feel you. We will probably do other maybe lives or discussion with that, because it is part of our intention as well to move where more sun. Because summer here in Canada is amazing, but winter is not
very long.
It's not optimal. So yeah,
and just like
6 months long.
Yeah, and you know, like I'm just thinking, like when I was over there, I'll just like bring up, you know, it's like being born and raised here, living on the Pacific, with the Pacific Ocean, you get the cold water, you know. Being in Costa Rica, you get the warm, nice tropical oceans. You can literally just lay in the water just for hours. It's just such a different feeling. It's just such a different vibration, you know. And also the tropical fruits, you're getting good quality meats, you know. It's all local. The community is amazing. But also another thing, just to touch on how you were touching on Lemuria, Costa Rica specifically is kind of in that area. Like there's a lot of feminine energy in that area. Would
you say that all like American Latin?
Yeah, like one of the vortexes for the feminine energy, as well as Bali is another place. Bali as well as Hawaii.
Panama.
Oh, Panama.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There is many options. So yeah.
So much.
But you went there. So maybe if you could summarize in a nutshell, what was your first experience? You've been there for how long, and why did you come back? And now you want to go back.
Oh, there's so many reasons. I was there for 2 months. In Nosara for a month, and then I was in Santa Teresa for another month in Costa Rica. And honestly, there was a couple things that was kind of drawing me back here. Honestly, one of them was finances, but also another thing was there was a community as well. You know, I'm someone who I really desire to create more community. Another thing with Costa Rica is I don't speak Spanish fluently yet. Okay. So that's another thing for me is I really want to learn Spanish. So I really want to take that on. And also I know a lot of people here locally, so I'm really focused on creating more of that brotherhood here while I'm here. But also just kind of tying up some loose ends, just, you know, also having a backup plan as well. You know, we always have to create a couple options in our lives, you know, to have, you know, options, you know, just in case anything happens, right? We just want to plan for the potential of something to happen, right? So, you know, just focusing on building more community and also building more of a foundation. It has been my focus with coming back here. But also too, like, I do feel like there's a reason why we are placed where we are in, you know, in this plane of existence. Like I do believe, like in terms of, you know, the light warriors and the ones that are going to anchor in these timelines, you know, these new timelines, these, you know, we're meant to be where we are. I truly believe that right now, and you know, we're gonna ripple off into the collective in our areas, you know, in terms of the resonance that we bring, and as we continue to do the work, it's only gonna manifest and show up more in this physical realm. So just taking it day by day. We have to take it day by day and continue to build off of what we already have, as individuals, but also as a collective, you know. And I think more than ever, I've just been feeling the call to really create more brotherhood. That's my focus for me is brotherhood, 100%.
And I have a question for you in that regards, because I highly resonate with that.
Yes,
because, because we have our own experience here with our tribe in Montreal. So what is, okay, so you went back to Victoria because you were called to build that brotherhood or communities. So what is your experience so far? How does it go in that regards?
So
because you're planning to go back, so what is the status of all that?
So, you know, I'm connecting more with, you know, entrepreneurs right now. I'm finding like people that are trying to delve into their own, you know, like like gifts and abilities, and really make that their full time
happen.
You know, so like I've just been creating more connections. I've been finding too, like, you know, right now I work like a 9 to 5. I work in a really nice restaurant here, and you know, just to make some extra cash right now, right? But it's interesting because I've actually met some like very conscious individuals through these restaurants, and I actually met like a really cool massage therapist who does like Reiki, and he lives like a couple hours. I actually just met him last week, and he lives a couple hours from me, right? But he gave me his card, and he told us to connect, and he's very awake in terms of everything that's going on. So you know, that's just one connection, for example. But I don't want to limit, you know, as much as I love in-person connection, I want everyone to have the ability to be able to connect wherever and whenever, right? So I'm also currently building my own online platform. I'm building my own website right now, and the goal with that is to create discussion, to create forum, to create connection with the brothers, but also with the sisters as well. You know, we all need it. You know, we need the sisterhood. We need the brotherhood now more than ever. So that's a big focus for me, is just, you know, getting myself out more there, you know, like, because I know like once I put myself out there and I just connect and I'm just my authentic self, you know, people come into my field, you know, and I connect naturally through that. It just happens, you know, it's happening more and more. Because like, you don't even need to say, and that's the thing with like enlightenment, is you don't even have to say, you don't even have to force things. It just flows, you know. It just happens, and that's what I've been finding more. Is just in my connections, I've just been connecting more with heart-centered souls, you know, that are just, they desire more. They deep down, we all know. It's just a matter of remembering. I think that's the thing, is helping us as individuals remember. We have all the codes within us. It's just about unlocking that and unlocking our gifts. You know?
Yes, that's beautiful. I just wanted to say something that Jasmine said earlier.
So many nice comments.
Yeah, so many nice comments.
I appreciate all the comments.
Thank you for being here, everyone.
So Jasmine said earlier that, you know, just talking about everything that we have to go through in this time, we understand that the healing is definitely coming from the heart, but what Yasmin said is that we need to heal the throat chakra. And this is communication. What we are doing now is doing that. We are healing our own throat chakra, and we are healing the throat chakra of the world. Because we are in this conversation, divine masculine and divine feminine together, coming to an understanding and to a point of Yes, we can communicate once again. Yes, we can be one once again. And this is where we are going towards. So I just wanted to say that because, you know, what.
And we can agree to disagree. I mean, communication, like a big part is we can agree to disagree. We are not all on the same wavelength on everything.
No.
And it's like part of life. But at least if we can communicate that and always be in the place, like from a place of love and all that, this is where we have to be back to the heart always.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The throat and the heart. Exactly, Marie. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
It's all connected, you know, like
Divine truth.
Yeah.
The Merkaba.
The Merkaba.
Yes.
Yes, so it will ignite things inside of us that we cannot understand because I don't think we mastered that in humanity ever. And I think we are mastering it now because for thousands of years it was Lemuria.
Yeah.
And then for thousands of years it was Atlantis. And now we did the full circle.
Yeah.
Now we have to mix them together.
Yeah.
And create new babies.
Yeah.
Energetic babies.
It's no longer a revolution, it's an evolution.
Exactly.
The cycle is no longer a cycle,
there's
it's
no fight anymore.
Yeah.
We've been fighting for so long, the divine feminine with the divine masculine. We've been fighting for so long that we don't know how to communicate, how to love each other for exactly what we are. So now it's time to just get out of our skin, literally, and just be together. And I think that's just the next level part of being divine feminine and divine masculine.
Yeah.
Please communicate, people. And this is the most important thing for me, for the divine masculine and the divine feminine. You know,
and we have to learn how to communicate. It's a process.
Even women, you know, you think that women, we are good at communicating. No, we are good at saying our emotions. Okay? We're really good at it. When we're mad, he knows. When we're crying, he knows. When we are happy, he knows. Everybody knows.
Yeah.
But how do you communicate? I was playing at a game yesterday. It's called The Mind.
Okay.
It's a game that you have to emotionally, without talking, know who got the smaller card. Anyway, it was just like telepathic talk. So you have cards in your hand, and who's closer to 1 and who's closer to 100, and you don't have to speak, and you just know how to gauge people. Like, I feel like I'm really close from 1, you know, are you as close as me? So we have to learn to communicate without talking. And everything that we do, you know, is talk, then, but we don't understand each other. But when we learn about body language, so I think that's what is really important for you, divine masculine, to teach other men's.
Great point.
How to understand the covert, like you said, covert communication, and also the body language. You know, if I'm like this, don't
I had to study that for years.
And men don't understand that. And that's something that you men have to put out there to help the divine masculine to rise once again, because it's communication. If a guy cannot understand a girl, how can he make her happy? And if a girl cannot express herself completely and properly so that the male can digest what you're trying to express, how can you make him happy?
Yeah, and in fact, just to add to your point, which is amazing, I mean, to understand covert communication and body language, because in a relationship, like if a male can understand his woman, like without her having to speak overtly, it's the best place to be, because women hate that. They hate to have to speak like overtly to everything. They just like
themselves.
Just to speak covertly, you know, they like to be understood. So when you can just understand them, because you
quicker,
quicker,
at least.
so that's the best for both. Yeah,
And
that's a big.
it also
Yeah,
comes back to having a level of presence as well, so that you can be open to seeing everything that is around you, but also what's going on within. What's also going on within, say, your divine feminine counterpart as well. Like being able to see the cues, so to speak. And you brought up a great point just about like how we're like, you know, I always say this, we're spiritual beings having a physical experience. We aren't physical beings having a spiritual experience. And I think we all need to remember that, and we are remembering that. As a collective, we need to tap more into that. And I think right now we're seeing, like, again, I always talk a lot on division and just bringing more awareness around that, because there is so much of that in our society, and especially with like stuff like religion. You know, you can find some truths in religion. You can also find a lot of lies and manipulation in it as well. So ultimately, it's finding what has the actual truth under, you know, like the real truth within it all, and taking that and building from that. And ultimately, we're all going in the right direction. Like, I see, you know, the next 5 years is going to be really interesting with our own collective evolution, because, as you say, you know, we're in like a precipice right now, like where there's so much that's happening around us and within us, and we're just going to hit a point where it's just like, and maybe that could be the solar flash, who knows? I don't want to depend on that either, but it's going to come to a point where we're all resonating, we're all vibrating so high that there's just a shift. And then
that might be the solar flash when we will reach that point. Like, who knows?
Whatever it means.
Whatever it is. Yeah.
But definitely we will, I think that's really important, that we will reach that point of vibration where everything is going to be so fluid yet so dense. Then we will just transmute it all. And it's about being an energy. It's about, you know, when you raise your vibration, is higher. It's like you're floating, but you feel like your energy is more dense. You feel like you have more power. You are more potent. You are more heavy, but yet you are flying.
Exactly.
So this is transmutation. You see, this is alchemy.
Yeah.
So it's like how to transmute everything. In a way, I digress in my brain because my brain goes in many million directions. But I just want to answer a question.
Yeah, there was a question. The question not there in the question box. It was from Yasmin. What do you do when one person has an ego and isn't willing to open up or communicate? What do you do? I think it's up to that person to be willing to do the work. I don't know.
That's a
what?
Yeah, maybe if we could get a little more like specific, like in terms of how the ego is reacting, I would be curious to know in what way, because we all have ego, and there's ways to identify certain patterns within each person's ego. So maybe that would be something to ask as well, is where are the patterns showing up? Like how is the ego reacting based on the situation? And if it's continuous or not, I'd be curious. You know, if it's something that's just coming up, maybe it's not something to take offense on personally. Maybe it could be a result of, say, an experience or an altercation at work, or with, you know, something else. It may not even have to do with this individual, but, you know, it's an interesting question.
Yeah, ego is very tricky because it takes so much place in this realm. It literally like corner the soul. Corner the soul. So the soul is just here desperate to express itself, but the ego will take the whole place. So ego is very tricky, and we need it at the same time. So ego is there. I don't know if I can answer that question.
Well, I'm gonna try. I'm just gonna read the next comment.
You better expand it.
Can you read it?
Yeah, we'll read it for you. So there is a lot of direction to go into this conversation. So let's say the ego is reacting in a way where he doesn't want to open up. Be honest or communicate the truth and be honest. Ego is choosing.
Okay, so ego is choosing for that person. So what I would say is that when somebody's ego is putting him in a bunker. So you feel like this person is in a bunker. First of all, when you are in a bunker, it's because you are afraid. First of all, let's just start with that. So if you feel like you need to protect yourself from everyone or somebody who comes with a new aspect or a new vision, it means that you don't feel stable within yourself enough to accept new information that is coming towards you. So just knowing that will put you in another frame of mind. The person is afraid. The person is not willing to open up. So when that happened, like the comment we're saying, let them be. You do not have to save anyone, and you cannot save anyone. And when the ego is so strong, work with the ego. That's what I do. And I'm really good at that. I work with your ego. I'm like, okay, your ego is trying to keep you protected, and okay, let's just work with you, and then transmute that shit. You know, you have to play in life. Life is not so serious.
It's a game. It's a game.
So just play with it. Just move with the ego. So sometimes Vincent has a big ego.
I do.
He has a really big ego, but he uses it in a good way.
To my advantage.
To his advantage.
And now, like, it's to master your ego.
And I have a big ego too.
Like a tool.
No, So I will just make an analogy. You know, we are in a very interesting relationship. So let's say she come at me, she says something that could trigger my ego. Sometimes it will. I'm not perfect, but other times, more and more that I progress on my path, I see that coming. You know, like in the movie The Matrix, you see that bullet coming, and you just do like that. Okay. So and totally. You just that, and then you continue without giving that energy at all, and you just flow like if that comment never really existed, and then it doesn't create that
bullshit. So you know, if somebody has too much of an ego, I would just do that. I would just play with the ego. I mean, okay, you want to be on your horse? You know, I'm gonna climb with you, no problem. I have no problem climbing with you. And you know, you want to crawl? I have no problem crawling with you as well. But you can always find a way to bring somebody to think that it's safe. You just have to bring them in a way that it feels safe, even if it takes a lot of time. So that's when patience comes in.
I think to add to that too, with the ego, when that comes up, you know, there is that sense of separation, you know, where when the ego comes in, it's like, okay, I'm disconnected from everything and everyone around me, so to speak, in some ways, right? So bringing back that connection, again, like someone brought up a good point, you know, just about like, you know, connecting to our heart space 100%. We need to do that more. You know, if someone is in their ego more, that usually means that they're coming from the mind, you know, like thinking from things that are already conditioned and programmed within us. So, you know, we have to have patience as well. We have to have also acceptance for the current moment, and then, as you say, we just have to flow through it. We need to be like water, like as Bruce Lee said. Bruce Lee is one of my favorite inspirations. You know, he had an amazing quote too. Under the skies, under the heavens, we are but one family. It just so happens that people are different.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly. Exactly. So if we come back to that conclusion, it's going back to Lemuria time. Lemuria, it was unity. Atlantean, it was, I have a difficulty with that word. Atlantis, it was individuality more. But we need both.
Yes.
Balance. It's a full circle.
Balance.
So they had to go to that route to create this. Yeah. And then, you know, individuality, ego, you will hurt me because you are not me. You see, it's like, you are not me, you will hurt me. But when we are all one, I cannot hurt you if I am you. You know, you are me.
Yeah.
I cannot hurt you.
Back to omnipresence.
Back to omnipresence. We are everything back into balance. This is the yin and yang that we're talking about.
And we're mirrors for each other, right? You know, like we're mirrors. It's are we seeing the greater perspective in it, or are we using it as a means to project? You know, having projection. You know, and you know, or are we using discernment and learning from it? You know, and it's all learning. You know, we're all learning this Earth school, right?
We're still like kids, but growing up fast.
Yeah,
growing up fast.
Almost like young adult teenagers. You know.
Yeah.
We went to the rebellion, and then we're like, okay, you know, the rebellion is starting to come down, and then we want to raise. And then there's so much I want to say, but we don't have time because I have so many ideas in my mind. But I just want to say that really quickly. I've learned recently when I was listening to an audio, and the men were saying that it was an alchemist coming from the 1920s. And he was expressing how alchemy worked, the mind, the other realms, and all those things that he was saying in ancient time. People would grow up mentally till the age of 50 and 60, and then they will continue to live until the end of their life and just get stuck there. But at his time, he was saying that people grow mentally till the age of 27. So mentally, we are living in a society where everybody is 27. Max.
That was 100 years ago.
Unless you do the spiritual work.
Yeah.
And when you remember that, you're like, okay, you see a 60-year-old person and he hasn't done any work on himself, you're still talking to a 27 person. So you need to open up your mind to evolution. And when you balance both polarization of life, I will try to write below the name of that.
Yeah, I'd be curious. The audio.
Steinberg, I don't know. Anyway, I will try to find the name.
Yeah.
And I will link it below because it was, to be honest, it's there's a lot of material, but it's epic. So anyway, I don't want to digress again. And it's been already an hour and 10 minutes.
Time just flies, you know, like that's the thing. I love it.
So we have part 2 or part 3 or part 5.
I have the feeling that we will collaborate more and more.
Yes, I have the feeling with that, you and Vincent. I feel like there's something.
Something that I noticed, because to me it's always with the flow in the now, and maybe many will resonate with that, so I just want to put it out there. Because we are evolving at a very, very rapid pace, like even like at individual level. So I noticed that there is a lot of people that come into our hologram, but they come in and out because we evolve so fast, so we resonate a lot, and then after a short while, then the resonance is not as strong, so it's kind of in and out. So I'm curious to see how all of this will evolve. But for now, I feel a strong resonance with you.
100% on it. Yeah, the feeling is very mutual with you, both of you. Yeah, I'm so grateful for that.
So to me, it's like always in the now. So maybe it's for the long run and a lot of things coming. Maybe it will be for a couple of months. No idea. But whatever it is, it's for a reason. It's for everybody to just reach the next step.
Yes, and I think that you two have a very similar vision of the future and of what you want to do and how you want to help the divine masculine. So I think that's really close, and maybe it's close enough for you to like collaborate in some way.
So much greater, and when we can combine, you know, like so much more powerful. Like, and that's another thing is it's like that's such a ego separation thing. Is it's like, oh, like I'm not gonna be as powerful if I collaborate, say, with Vince.
That's
bullshit. Like, we need to completely remove that
Shit.
mindset. But again, that comes back to the conditioning that is placed upon humanity right now.
Yes.
And that's what we're destroying. We are fucking destroying that. And like you and me, like the three of us, like, but like me and you, Vince, like we're taking it on with the brothers, man, because like 100%, you know,
I feel like I'm seeing the Water God Brothers.
The Water God Brothers.
United, yes, definitely.
Yeah, because it's back to together we rise and synchronized we thrive.
I was about to say that.
Exactly.
That's key. So the more that people that can understand that to collaborate, it's not a threat.
Yeah. And another thing I was going to say, just to add to that, is like, you know, connecting back to nature especially, but when we can connect to nature, there's that connection to ourselves and everyone around us. So I think that's very pivotal with the men, especially, is helping the men connect back to nature. Everything that's in nature, from the food, from, you know, just all the elements, you know, connecting with it all. I think that there's so much that can be taught and shared with our own experiences, and that's going to be even more powerful when we can combine that. So I definitely want to do more lives together. I definitely feel like this is just like, it's been a while for me, obviously, because like I also was banned from going live on it. Like
that's what happened when you're a rebel.
Yeah. Covert communication on social media, and you need to spread covertly.
Yes, not true. That's the game. That's the game. You want to play with the ego, you know? You. Also, Lyron Vibe Maite commented that a book that I agree with her, because she sent me a few capture, and it's Entering Her Vortex book by Jackal El Malik. Okay, I just read a couple of phrases from his couple of paragraphs. And it's epic. And the guy is really talking about the divine masculine and the divine feminine and the union. And so definitely I would recommend that.
And I just want to add to that, because I'm surprised that like Maite is here. Maite is my ex-wife and the mom of my kids. So a lot of healing. We are doing a lot of work. She's on her path. I am on my path. And now the more we evolve, the more healing there is. And now she is here on this live participating. So it means the world to me. To have her here in this talk, it's profound. It is.
We love you.
So thank you, Maite, for being here and for everything that you do. So
so much love, so much love, and that's in the name, right? I love that because it's in the name. But one thing I wanted to say too is ultimately, like, it all comes back to the children, right? It comes back to the youth, you know, like creating a better future for those that are coming into this realm even more. And like someone said, you know, like someone made a comment about, talk to children, you know, 100%. Like, even in the work that I'm doing with men's empowerment, transformation coaching, like I'm 28 years old, but it's like I want to connect with men that are like 18 that are just coming into their adulthood, right? Because like those are some of the most impressionable men. Like they're coming into a time right now where there's just so much distraction, again, like I said. So creating a foundation or a blueprint that, say, a young man can follow, you know, whether it be, you know, a mentor or a guide, so to speak, that I feel that in my body is needed so much more than ever now. Of course, there are some older men as well too that maybe need some guidance too, and maybe need to connect more with their purpose or need to resolve some of their trauma. But ultimately, it does come back to the children, and we're fighting.
And it's never too late. It's never too late. To add to what you just said, like me, I started like to be really like hardcore, to tap more into my, let's say, divine masculine path at 38.
Yeah, that's amazing, man.
Yeah, so I mean, you can still switch your life upside down even if you're 60.
100%.
I mean, there is no limit. But yes, the kids, they are the sponge. So it's for everyone. It's for everyone that have the call. Nobody has to stay out of that beautiful transformation and that journey. So that
exactly, no one's alone ultimately. And I think that's another thing too. Is it's like just over these past couple of years, you know, with men's health specifically, and just like, you know, bouts of depression, you know, like suicidal rates have gone through the roof as a result of say it on there, I don't care, but I shouldn't be censored because of that. But you know, like mental health needs to be the forefront for men especially. And you know, I'll just add one more point here. You know, I love talking about word magic and etymology and understanding language of the word and language of, you know, of English language. And the word government, we have government. Govern stands for control. Ment is short for mental, the mind. So what is that? Mind control. So what do you, right? So they want to have mind control over all of us, specifically the men, because when the men can be controlled, they can be easily influenced and they can have whatever reality they want. So ultimately, it's up to us individually to take responsibility, responding to one's ability, and take back our power that is already within us.
Yeah.
So, 100%.
Yes.
Not happening. Not under my watch.
No,
Not on my head, at least.
protecting the realm.
Yes, protected. So we will have to close this.
No worries.
Amazing. Thank you everyone for joining today. Thank you, Alexander. That was the first collaboration.
Thank you.
More to come for sure. We'll dive deeper, and again, like we said, we are just like rebuilding, and now it's going very well, our prana. So we're working on different things, and I know that there is great things and breakthrough coming. So divine timing, everything as always.
Yes. And next live that we will do together, if ever you're interested, I would love to. Thank you. I would love to talk more about, like somebody said, and like you just mentioned really quickly, the mental health of the males and the divine, because that's another topic. And if women can understand the point of view of men better, they can understand them better. And we will do it eventually for the woman as well. But since we are with two divine masculine, I really would want to do that with you for the mental health, because I know that the struggle is real.
It's real.
When you don't know where to go and you want to become your divine.
When you're lost into that maze.
So it is what it is.
It is what it is for now.
Thank you. We love you.
Thank you. So much love for you both. And as Vince says, it's all in divine timing, 100%, as is everything. And one day in the future, no rush. We'll definitely, I would love to do a live channeling as well. I know we already talked on that, and I know you're both working on, as you say, you know, harnessing your energy as you should be. You know, it's balance within everything, right? So when the timing is right, I would love to do that. But for the next one, definitely let's talk on the mental health side of it, the mental fitness, as I like to call it as well, right? So
a nice way to put it.
Yes.
The mental fitness. I love it.
We will put that in the title.
I'll remember it. The mental fitness. That's nice.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Vince.
One love.
And everyone on here, thank you everyone for joining. And
the comments were just.
We couldn't read everything.
Too much.
There were so many comments. But
it was an amazing moment for everyone, and more to come. We're just getting started here. Always.
Thank you, everybody. We love you.
Yes. So love and light, everyone.
Love and light, always and always.
Enjoy your day. Dance,
You
play.
too. Have a beautiful day, you too. Awesome.
Bye.